Welcome to Wobility platform. Wobility platform is a platform that tells you the story as it is. So today we are moving out of Eugene and we are going far, far away in DC. And we are going to talk to one lovely, kind, young lady. This is Ruth Sits. As mobility goes, our guests will tell who they are for members of or the viewers of mobility platform to get the gist out of them. So you are highly welcome.
Thank
And
you,
who are
Ruth.
you?
Thank you for inviting me to this interview. And I'm glad to be speaking with you.
Yeah. So who are you? Viewers of mobility platform would like to know who are you?
So I am Rachel Chaikoff, and I am a woman with disability. I was born profoundly deaf, and I have cochlear implants, which is a device that allows people who are deaf to hear, which I received when I was 2 years old in 1989 when it was not yet approved by the FDA for children. So I was part of a clinical trial and was one of the first 200 children in the US to get the cochlear implant. I grew up attending mainstream school all my life, and my parents used the auditory verbal approach to teach me to hear the cochlear implants and speak. I also have a retinal condition that is causing me to slowly lose my vision. This is my deafness. My vision is all part of a syndrome called Usher syndrome, type 1F, which is a rare genetic disease. I am currently working in international development. I
Oh
knew
wow.
Ruth through Peace Corps. I first met her in 2014 in Cameroon when I was a Peace Corps volunteer working as a community health educator. We worked together collaboratively to improve access to education and health for persons with disabilities all throughout Bamenda and also Northwest region. And then after Peace Corps, I moved back to the US, and I'm currently living in Washington, D.C., where I am working for an international development consulting firm focusing on global health and disability inclusion.
Wow. You have a long profile. We are so glad to hear your story. You said you have a cochlear implant, you've been into Peace Corps, and now you're into international development. As a woman with disability, what kind of challenges did you face in carrying out all this within this long year period of time?
So, in Peace Corps, I think the biggest challenges were first understanding what challenges persons with disabilities were facing in Cameroon. Most importantly, how were the challenges different in a developing country versus a developed country where I was from, and how to best accommodate them based on their living environment and their culture, and also understanding Cameroonians' preferences in terms of their culture and how to teach them. Another challenge for me is that even though the official language of Bamenda Northwest is English, they also speak Pidgin English. And
Yeah.
so, as a person with hearing loss, it was a challenge for me to pick up Pidgin English and even grammar English. It was also a struggle to pick up on the accent. So it was a matter of constantly asking for clarification or having someone like Ruth to provide a clarification when communicating with some of the Cameroonians, especially translating when one didn't have proficiency in grammar English. The other challenges was when I was first getting to know the challenges. I had to do something called community needs assessment assignment. And it was figuring out, knowing where these persons with disabilities were located. I didn't know where they were located. And so Ruth and some other Cameroonians with disabilities were gracious to accompany me to different parts of Bamenda, to different disability groups, to homes of persons with disabilities, not only in Bamenda, but also in different villages in the Northwest region, so that I could interview them, get to know them, And as a result, I was able to meet persons with disabilities, all types of different disabilities, ranging from those with mobility disabilities in their legs, those with deafness, those with blindness, those who became disabled from accidents, those who became disabled because they couldn't access health care. I really got to understand and learn about the challenges through that. And then the next challenge was, okay, what was the best way to make an impact on the disability community in the
Yeah.
Northwest region? And
Yeah.
so, because Peace Corps' mission is to build the capacity of people, Ruth and I agree that the best way to go about it is to provide educational workshops on HIV/AIDS prevention, sexual reproductive health, and malaria. The most common health issues that exist in the Northwest region and also throughout Cameroon.
We are so proud of what he did as a Peace Corps volunteer in Cameroon, particularly in the English speaking region. Um, but you face these challenges and you were able to go through it. Um, if you were asked today by another young um, woman with a disability trying to carry out that career as you did, what kind of advice would you be able to give them?
Oops. So your question, I just want to make sure I understood, is what advice should I give to someone who wants to have a career in improving the inclusion of
Yeah,
persons with disabilities in
yeah,
international development? So my
yeah,
advice is take the time to talk to persons with disabilities. Take the time to find them and find out what challenges they are facing. Learn more about their own personal adversity. And because the thing is, in order to make a sustainable change, we want to work towards meeting their needs and their wants. And when interviewing them and taking the time to talk to them, really get to know what they really want and what they really need, and also the root cause of the issues and challenges they are facing. There'll be so many surprises because when I came to Cameroon, I honestly underestimated the challenges that existed. I felt like I was opening up a Pandora's box. I had no idea that so many people in Cameroon became disabled simply because they didn't have access to affordable, high quality health care. So many of the disabilities could have been prevented if they had access to health care, or it could have been mitigated. And even if they didn't become disabled because of the lack of quality of healthcare, if it was because it was an accident where even with the good healthcare they couldn't truly fix the issue, or it was because of birth and genetics, they still lacked access to quality services and assistive devices. For example, I saw people who are blind using wooden sticks instead of white canes. People who had mobility disability in the lower extremities, the legs, they didn't have a wheelchair. And so as a result, they never left their home at all. And I was astonished to learn that there are many persons with disabilities who have never left their own bedroom or their house or wherever they live. And
yeah.
I think that's why it's important to take the time to sit down and interview them so you can really make the best educated decision on how to improve the inclusion of persons with disabilities. And the other thing I also learned was how little attention the international development community, in particular the donors, give attention to persons with disabilities.
Yeah,
And understanding how can we take a step further to encourage donors to improve the inclusion of persons with disabilities in their efforts.
that is a good one. Um, now that you are into international development and you are really like seeing how this donor include persons with disability in their funding projects. That is a good point. But if you were to advise a young person who wants to carry out projects, what kind of advice would you, how will you be able to tell them in order for them to write a good project so that they'll be able to have the grants? Just short so that they are listening and they might be thinking of doing something, but they don't know how to go about it.
So my advice is a couple of things when writing a proposal for a grant. I recommend including a budget line for inclusion, budget for accommodations. For example, a budget for building a ramp for the office, project office, budget for interpreters for deaf and hard of hearing, and also subtitles for trainings and any kind of activities where you can bring the participants together. Also budgeting for legal counsel to find out what are the disability laws in that country where the project will take place to ensure you are meeting the disability rights laws. Also budgeting for Braille if you're going to print manuals for the training so that those who are visually impaired can have the Braille. So including a line item for accommodations. The next thing is also usually proposals require a monitoring and evaluation plan. Include indicators that help you track disability inclusion. For example, number of participants who had disability participated in this activity. Another example, let's say if it's a education project, you can say percentage of progress made among persons with disabilities in reading skills. Let's say there's a health project that focuses on improving access to health care, percentage of persons with disabilities who are able to access health care. So creating indicators that are tailored to persons with disabilities so that it ensures and holds projects accountable to ensuring that they are including persons with disabilities and they are making progress in improving the inclusion of persons with disabilities and their rights.
Wow, wow. This is so incredible. And I am so marveled at what you are trying to do and what you want many more donors to see and to do with persons with living with disability in our various community. And also you are helping people who like want to engage in writing project in our community to know what actually is needed for their funds to be granted. We are so happy to get all this information. Hello viewers, you are getting the gist out of her. She has all the plate full of so many things. I think mobility platform will still come back to you for more education because you know many more persons living with disability are limiting their ability to carry out work or also carry out projects because they feel like nobody is there to grant them funding. The funding thing is difficult. So many of them are not doing anything. So you as a role model, what can you say like an encouragement booster to the young persons with disability living in our community who think that there is nothing they can do?
That is so true. There's nothing that we can't do, and no one should underestimate the abilities of persons with disabilities.
That is so true. Thank you so much. Mobility is here. And viewers, if you have any more questions for Rachel Chekhov, just put it on our YouTube platform. You'll get to her and she will let us know many more things that she has as a package for many more persons with disability at large. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Ruth, for your time to interview me. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Bye, viewers. You got the gist. Keep following the page. Many more are coming. Bye.